The dream is like a veil. Well, hey, so this is to say hello to Stash. Hey, Stash. You know, I'm coming to grips with certain things like, is the conspiracy real? And if it is, okay, fine. But I'm having doubts. I'm beginning to think that the dream, that whole vision of the intentions of the government and the evil rich and all that. The Republic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic. No, that's not what it says. To the Republic for which it stands. Does it say that? Is that what it says? And to the Republic for which it stands. And to the Republic. Is that what it is? Okay, I gotta look it up now. What am I looking up? Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance. See, now that's what I'm saying. This is what I was talking about earlier. Is the Pledge of Allegiance, for instance, an indictment or an inducement to serve? Like I was talking about the one first commandment: do not make any image of anything and be induced to serve it. Now you look at a flag and you're induced to serve it and for which it stands. And to the Republic for which it stands. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic for which it stands. One nation, under God, one nation, one United Nations. That's what they're going to make it, you know. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Isn't that sweet? And the Republic, that's the one that got me. And to the Republic for which it stands. Now, is that the Republican? No, I don't mean Republic. Hey, you can always give me a call, you know, at 707-637-0030. I'm telling you, I'm wavering a little bit. I'm wavering on my belief in all this hoopla. The hoopla of the hoopla. A bunch of hoopla. A bunch of hoop law. Anyway, what am I talking about? Talking about maybe the conspiracy stuff is Just a big spin. Just a big spin. It's not necessarily real. Maybe it's not even real. The conspiracy thing. It's just a big samskara, some kind of Maya illusion. But then, of course, when we're all lined up like rats on a treadmill and cage with the maze for them to find something scrap of food to eat, while they live in they're just licking the caviar out of some girl's navel, you know, at $800 a kernel. Then they go and get in their leather seats of their automobile with their gold, this, that, and the other thing. Do you remember that story? Was it Ceausescu or that the people dismembered finally when they found out he had gold toilets in his house in the middle of nowhere? There we go with Buddha. There we go. And to which it stands. And to which it stands. And to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with justice and all that stuff. See, the Constitution seemed to have a pretty utopian image of the intention of the beingness of life that's manifesting through all the life forms here. All of the seeds of... They're like different seeds were planted. You know, animal seeds, you know, reptile seeds and bird seeds. And then there's the bugs and the smaller than bugs, and then there's the smallest of the small bugs, and you know what I'm saying? It is I.
Yes, it is you.
So what do you think, man? You still work hard. You're the hardest worker about the sovereignty and the fighting for the image of justice and a happy, equal sharing of respect and stature. But you're usually battling against the enemy of that seems to be greedy and and you have less because they're so greedy they got to take as much as they can. They just barely let you survive.
Well, now you started off on conspiracy. Okay.
Right.
Conspiracy is when any two people work together for a common goal, and it's usually considered when they do it towards something illegal.
Okay.
Our government is, well, just in Congress, what is it, 535 conspiracists. They all work together to get something done. But now the question is, how much of that is above board for us, and how much it serves them and the people who tell them what to do, the lobbyists, the industrialists, the international bankers, their masters? That's the question.
Right. So the conspiracy theory, I guess I should always add that onto it. Because there is an overall theory that has quite a bit of detail to it. And it's pretty consistent throughout. So that if you go, well, what's the idea that of what's the real reality going on, what does it really look like, it would be the conspiracy theory that these.
Well, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, because you keep, you say conspiracy theory. I'm sure there are a lot of people with a lot of ideas of conspiracies going on, but then you have to come back to the other side of that, which you mentioned in part, conspiracy reality. There are things coming out that show consistently that conspiracy is a reality, and many of the conspiracies that have been talked about are realities. They're there. They've been documented, verified, totally uncovered in the media, because that would ruin their whole image. But there are conspiracy realities.
Right. Okay. Well, yes. The documentation that seems to prove that such a thing exists.
Paper trails.
Right, exactly.
And I heard a while back this line that said something to the effect that the, quote, cabal, the Illuminati, the New World Order, had a kind of a perverse sense of ethics, because they were honor-bound in their own way to tell you what they were going to do before they did it. And if you go back and look at for instance, the Illuminati playing cards that came out, I think in the early 90s, they predicted everything that's happening today. They predicted, 9/11. They predicted all these things because that was their plan of attack. It's their playbook, the way they work. And they're so convinced that Americans are complacent and they're not going to do anything that they're even becoming less, covert about it. They're actually becoming blatant about it. And they're getting caught. And the whistleblowers are coming out. The scandals are showing up. I mean, the administration right now is dealing with at least a dozen different scandals. And the media is having a hard time keeping it out, because alternative media, what we're doing right now, is just getting it out there before they can squash it. This is the battlefield right here on the internet. This is the main battlefield of this revolution we're in.
Yeah. My equation of what is truth, when information comes into the body and it's uncomfortable to it, and it evokes a negative emotional reaction, according to Byron Katie, it would be an untruth.
Or it could be cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, okay. Define cognitive dissonance, where there's some truth to it and the rest of it's false.
Well, you have your beliefs, but then something is presented to you that totally countermands, that tears your world up, just is a total non sequitur in your world, but it has the validity or seeming validity of truth. It's a dissonance. It's a disagreement between your belief system and a need for the truth.
Right.
The first reaction is denial.
Well, I'm saying that what it is I've countered that one in my mind now with that if somebody has murdered somebody and they're out to go murder somebody else, it's sure that's going to feel uncomfortable in my body, and I'm going to want to stop that person from doing it. The denial is, I'm going to call it an untruth, namely a cognitive dissident person. They're conflicted inside. They're having a negative emotional response towards life, and they're killing people. But so therefore that will feel uncomfortable in my body, and if I try to override that with keeping my face all smiley,
That's cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, right. Well, and it's
on the other side. Like when you've grown up to believe that our politicians are right and America, above all, we can do no wrong. We're the greatest country in the world. Yeah, but we're killing people with drones. Yeah, but we're starving Americans. Yeah, but kids are disappearing. There's so many things going on.
Yeah.
That it's totally the antithesis of everything you grew up to believe. Well, this is why people are having trouble believing all the stuff that's being perpetrated on them.
Exactly. I know. And I'm being swung back and forth with that too.
Bottom line is, politicians, part of the job qualification is you have to be a very adept liar. If your mouth is moving, you're lying. Politicians in this country, at this point, we do not have a republic. We have a democracy, which is the last state before collapse into socialism. We are supposed to have a republican form of government where all law, common law, with respect to everyone's rights, the majority rules, but only when it's constitutional and with keeping everyone's rights in effect. So, democracy is brute force government. The will of the majority overrides the will of the minority and can take away their rights. But we have a government that is, first off, a foreign corporation from a foreign nation state. It's not even part of the United States of America, the United States of America. It is a totally alien entity. And what we need to do is just cut off doing business with this corporation. It's bankrupting us. And the Federal Reserve and the IRS, which is a private corporation run out of Puerto Rico, everything in government is a corporation. All of the agencies are private corporations. We got to stop doing business with the corporations. Government is not about being a corporation. It is an organization of public servants serving we the people, including public servant number one. What's his silly face up there in the White House?
The president?
The president, CEO of the United States of America Incorporated, the capital letter P president for the United States of America. There's a distinction, big distinction.
Okay, so what? He's the president of what?
A corporation.
Oh, okay. That was the word that was stuck in my brain this whole time while you were talking. Neo-corporatism.
Fascism.
Fascism.
We are living in a fascist oligarchy.
What does a fascist really mean?
Fascism is when government nationalizes all the corporations, and basically government is corporation, corporation is government. When business runs government instead of the people, and it's an oligarchy because there are basically 6 families that control the wealth in this country. So they're the oligarchs, and their whole thing is about business. If you get the chance, go back and watch the movie Network. And at the end, there is this speech by the great industrialist that there is no United States, there is no Great Britain, there is no this or that, there's only money, there's only economics, a giant global network of the almighty dollar. Scary?
Right. Well, it's kind of like the corporations took over because we all want the stuff that the corporations are making us. And I was thinking that in order for us to bring an end to this fascism, we would have to bankrupt it. We would have to, everybody in the world would have to say, I'm never going to put a dime in Chase Manhattan Bank.
It's already bankrupt.
Right. Well, then we got the government bailing it out by just printing money and saying, here, put this in your account.
Government is bankrupt.
Put this money in your bank account. And then we'll... But the thing
But it's not money.
It isn't. It's debt.
It's notification. It's little pieces of IOU. Trillions and trillions of pieces of IOU. You know, you can't pay off a single bill. You cannot do it because you cannot satisfy a debt with more debt. And when you give somebody your Federal Reserve notes, all you're doing is spreading the debt.
There's the bad guy, the Federal Reserve. That's the one.
We have the best political system money can buy, and legal system, you know. I mean, that's what runs our country. It's money. Follow the money.
I was following the money last night, and just on the chemtrails alone, they're spent on the geoengineering. God, it was some ungodly figure.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah, way up there, 700 billion or something. And it's all with the defense, military.
Well, it's not all. They use private contractors on their jets.
Well, yeah, they
You
pay.
know that.
The military pays these other companies to do it. But those these other businesses are involved in paying them too. The part that's the oligarchy. The oligarchy.
Of course, in Santo, Dow Chemical, they have an agenda.
To possess and own all of the food so that we have to get it from them.
And the water. Nestle's trying to corner the market on water. He says water is not a human right.
Or it is a human right. It's not a...
Of course it is. But, you know, they're trying to corporatize everything. And this is what the big battle is about right now. One of the things Americans don't seem to realize is that if you don't like what a corporation is doing, don't buy their products. Patronize them.
Right. So maybe, but the thing is we do like their products.
No, we don't.
We don't?
Most of it we don't need. I mean, sure, everybody wants to go buy a 60-inch flat-screen TV for their living room, one that's going to watch and listen to them without their knowing it. Every TV built these days, all these flat screens, have cameras and microphones in them. They can turn them on at will. They're using them to direct advertising just by background noise or the tone of their conversation or keywords in your home. I don't want that. I got an old CRT that works just fine, you know, on airwave television. I'm not connected to anybody's cable. Don't need it, don't want it. Because stuff on cable is mostly crap anyway. It's more propaganda. You learn more on the internet in an hour than I could in 6 months on TV.
Yeah, except now you can your internet on the TV.
Yeah, then they watch everything you do, always.
Well,
they do anyway. They try anyway, but there are ways around it on a computer that you don't have in those TVs. They're built not to let you bypass them.
Well, who's watching us, and who gives a hoot, right? I mean, who's really watching us?
When those same corporations, plus the NSA, plus the FBI, plus you can name any dozen alphabet agencies. If they want to monitor you, they'll find a way.
Okay, and so somebody's going to be staring at you all day, like the eyes of our conscience, with God looking at us and judging us whether we're good or bad. And
could you imagine? All of a sudden, you're in your living room with your girlfriend, and you're making love on the couch, and, oh, we noticed that you're making love. We thought you might be interested in this Trojan commercial.
But they turn on your TV and run a sexy Trojan
you have
commercial.
The TV on. You're watching a movie, and you get carried away, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the movie, there's a commercial break for a Trojan commercial because you're in the living room making love when you've never seen a Trojan commercial before on your TV set.
Yeah. Well, definitely commercialism seems to be the programming that they're spinning on us.
Of course, it's been that way since Bernays came out with book propaganda back in the 30s, 40s. They have been working on this. They have put a lot of money into mind control, crowd control, psychology. They just because they say they stopped a questionable program doesn't mean they really did it. They just took it underground.
Yeah.
And this is where your conspiracies come back in. Our whole legal system is conspiracy to defraud the public, just like the Social Security, IRS. The income tax was never legally ratified. It was pushed through during a Christmas break in Congress. It's illegal. Yet they think they got all this power because people are asleep. They don't go and question.
Well, but where in the hell are they going to come up with the money to build the roads and the schools and all the other goodies?
To start with, very little, if any, of your tax dollars go to any public works project at all. The majority of it goes to pay the interest only on the national debt.
Right.
From, about the early 1800s until just before World War I or just after. This country didn't have an income tax, and everything we needed was provided for. A lot of it came from business taxes and tariffs on imports and such. The states, would impose a tax on a business that they could do that because businesses are a special character. And we operated fine, and then they figured a bunch of bankers went to Jekyll Island and figured out that they could turn us all into corporations and commodities, and we could become their property by making us a fictitious corporation. So here we are. That's why we supposedly have to pay income tax, because it's a corporate tax. It's an illegal tax. It isn't evenly apportioned among the states, which is what the Constitution says. So they've already negated that in so many ways. We have to get back to the original organic setup of our country with a republic and a constitution and a Bill of Rights. Basically anything up to including the original organic 13th Amendment, the Titles of Nobility Act. Anything beyond that is pretty much was enacted illegally because there wasn't a sitting Congress, there wasn't a sitting Senate or a legal president after Lincoln. It was suspended. We have to take it back and get back to it.
Well, what's difference is it going to make?
Well, first off, if you go back to the constitutional republic, you're dealing with common law instead of Admiralty, UCC law. Common law, a fifth grader could go into court and defend themselves because it's a matter of, have you hurt anyone? Is there an injured party? Have you stolen or defaced or destroyed anyone's property? Have you entered into a contract fraudulently or entered into it and didn't honor your contract? That is common law. The rest of it, except in matters of public safety, like a 20-mile-an-hour zone in the schools, school crossing, that I can see. But telling me I have to wear a seatbelt, telling me I have to have a driver's license, I have to give register my car and give them legal ownership. They are the title holders when you register your vehicle. Therefore, it becomes a corporate vehicle.
You know,
I do not engage in corporate activities in my vehicle. I'm a traveler. I'm free to travel the roads in any method that I find convenient. All these things are major oversteps of government.
they say
They're
by
not in the Constitution anywhere.
that by having elected these people to do these things, to be our judges and our lawmakers, that we've given permission for them to
No,
rule over us.
I have not given anyone permission to abrogate my rights. And the rights spelled out are very specific. And they're not limited to just those, but basically, you know, if I want to get stoned to the bone, it's nobody's business.
Nobody's business but my own.
Exactly. And if I'm having consensual sex with someone, it's nobody's business. If I want to go out and contract with someone to paint their house, that's between me and that person. That is not the government's business. If you go right to the issue of income tax, what's income? It's not your wages, it's not tips, it's not salaries. Income is a gain from an investment or a gain from a business operation. So if I put $1,000 in the stock market and I triple it, the $2,000 is taxable income. That original $1,000 is not taxable. That's not income. And this is where they've screwed us up. You fill out a 1040 form, you're declaring your wages and salaries as taxable income. Therefore, they have a right to tax it. But it's not. So you're actually making a false statement. That's lying. That's fraud.
Well, aren't we supposed to feel like they're doing their job in a good way?
If they were,
And they're not.
hey, you know what? If we paid Congress for every piece of viable legislation that they came up with, they'd still starve and be on food stamps.
You know, they really got a war going on right now, trying to get rid of food stamps and virtually everything. They're really trying to bankrupt the American people rather than the corporations.
There you have it in a nutshell, so that when we're broke and pitiful and in disarray, they can walk in and say, hey, we have a solution. And we end up with a dictatorship. That's the whole thing. People have got to realize we're right on the edge, and people are waking up, and it's hopefully in time before it goes down the toilet. But you familiar with the Operation American Spring?
I don't know. What's it called?
Operation American Spring.
No, define it to me.
Okay, well, it's basically like the, what did they call it, the Middle East Spring, where everybody stood up. Yeah, the Arab Spring. Basically, we have several military generals who have been fired for no cause other than bullshit, organizing a 10 million person march on Washington in March. And they're setting it up so that they can arrange to have 1 million stay in town until changes are made. They're going in with the intention of overwhelming them and staying until the hierarchy of our government, the corrupt ones, are gone.
Are they going to clang the pots and pans like Iceland?
Yep, they're going in. I mean, 20 million, if they can get it, they're asking for 20 million. But I've said in a public forum that I think that, in a way, that would be a mistake to go into Washington, because then you're in a foreign nation on, under foreign laws, and they have every right to defend themselves because they're being invaded. But what if we just surrounded D.C. and didn't let anything in or anything out? Cut off all communications except through us. You guys have got to work up a treaty. You're a foreign country. We're not doing business with you anymore.
I think that well, now this is probably totally false, but I think they're totally prepared to be able to handle it and outlast us, because we're going to get hungry and tired of hanging out over by the Capitol, blocking traffic, and who in the hell's going to feed us, and where are we going to get the food from, and they're going to outlast us.
Being taken care of. They're working on that too. Supply lines, places for people to sleep, the whole 9 yards. But I think it would be a mistake to actually cross the border into D.C., blockade the Potomac, cut off all the highways, enforce a no-fly zone over Washington, D.C., nobody in or out.
Is that
You're
March?
You're a foreign nation, deal with it.
Is that March in March protesting? Is that against the corruption?
Yep.
Well, that's the one I put on the web. That's Sean is doing. It's me and him creating this for Portland.
There's also that's a local state thing.
The Canada.
Yeah, that's a state thing. Let me find a link to that, and I'll ship it to you on Facebook here, because I've been watching this grow. Just for the halibut, I'm sending you a link to the new Declaration of Independence. And let's see. Where is that? I'm trying to keep track of, oh my God, so many things going on at once.
Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve,
it's a very long document,
the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitles them. Okay, I get you.
It's been rewritten, and it deals with a whole lot of issues in that one document. So,
hey, I was just looking at this. How could that be? Oh, it was on your website or somewhere. I just saw this.
What, the Operation American Spring?
Eric Rush.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of articles coming out about it. There's actually a couple of websites devoted to the Arab Spring movement. I mean, the American Spring. So, hey, liberation is liberation, no matter where it is.
Yeah. Wow. So I have it right here on my Facebook, and everybody could get it. I can copy it and just put it in there, right?
Sure.
Operation American Spring. Militias, truckers, bikers, veterans, old, young, everybody getting together like that to protest nonviolently.
See, the thing people don't realize is because of the internet and all this, there's been some amazing grassroots movements popping up that are huge, and they're scaring the government. They are scared. That's why they're making all these hardcore pushes. Why they're doing all of this nasty stuff. It's their last chance. We either wake up and take care of this now, or we're not going to have a chance. They're just going to squash everything. So the only way that it's going to change in this country is if we the people, all of we the people, stand up, and say, hey, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
You know why it's that we're having such a hard time? It's because their big plans aren't working.
Exactly.
They're actually in a weaker position than what they would want us to think.
They, God, how do I put this? They're bankrupt. The world, the power figures of the world that has been are bankrupt. Their money that they're circulating around the world, the euro, the dollar, is worth nothing. And nobody's, the BRICS nations are starting to refuse to take American dollars, and they're forming their own trade associations. They're starting to trade in the Chinese yuan instead of the dollar as the reserve currency, and they're also trading in gold and silver and other metals, but they're not using the dollar. We're going down.
Yeah, I know.
Our dollar is about to go through the floor, and it's going to cause a whole reset in the global economy. The thing is, how do we cope with it? And I don't know about most people, but I've been preparing for it. There might be a downtime between when the shit hits the fan and when we actually get it remedied. A couple of weeks, a month.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is they could outlast us, and we could come running back to them with our tail between our legs saying, oh, please bring back your services and let the United Nations rule us. And,
won't happen. Not in America.
Mass starvations everywhere around the globe. The sky is...
Well, I'll tell you what, for the American people will be the first to turn on those criminals. Then they're not there to help. They are criminals. They caused this stuff. Those are people, if they're not careful, some vigilantes might find them and not let them get to court.
Yeah, I know. I hear that thought in my mind a lot, and I think, wow, I'm evil. I think that some mercenaries ought to hunt them down and shoot them all.
Well, that's the whole thing from what I've been studying for the last couple of years. There is a major plan to accomplish all of this. It was started back in 1947. And when the person I heard about it from first got involved with it, there was like a 10-page thick book of documentation of damning evidence. And now it's grown over 20 train carloads full of damaging evidence against bankers, politicians, judges, kings, queens, ministers, other sinisters, the Vatican. They're all fighting for their life. All the power structures are fighting for their life. The Catholic Church is going down the tubes. People are waking up realizing that all they are is a giant money-grabbing control network. And the governments are all money-grabbing control networks. I found the other day the definition of anarchy. It is not about destruction. It is not about tearing down the powers that be. Anarchy simply means without rule or ruler, which means you live your own life.
Well, this was the original.
And where your nose begins.
This was the original. Before King David came along, that was what it was meant to be. Was everybody lived like that? The Jewish people, the Hebrews.
Yeah, the original Hebrews. they all recognize them. Basically, all religions have the same foundational basis: peace, love, brotherhood, whatever. It's only when it's taken by people and dogmatically twisted so that it favors them. You know, I'm your middleman to God. Well, I don't need no middleman. You know, like they said in Death of a Salesman, cut out the middleman.
Right.
I don't need it.
Right.
Because it is anyone else. You know, if you were taught about who you truly are from the time you're young, this wouldn't even be an issue.
Well,
you know this, Daniel.
Yeah, but wait. It's because of lawlessness that we need laws.
Well, you know, we need the basic laws that, you know, have been simple since before Sumerian times. Same kind of things came out of their writings. You know, the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Not the current one, you know, he who's got the gold makes the rules. But if we all followed the golden rule, respected each other, didn't try to rip each other off, you know, that what we get hung up in, and I say this to this day, our biggest problem as a species, and something that needs to be bred out of the species, is the propensity towards greed. You get rid of greed, 99% of our problems would disappear. It always seems to be about a battle between the haves and the have-nots. Well, why can't everybody have?
Right.
When one family is controlling 52% of the wealth in this world, they can share.
Yeah.
There's enough.
Yeah, well,
And they're not going to starve. You know, but because of the way they were brought up and what they believe, there's always more I can have. If you have something and I don't have it, it's going to be mine. I'm going to take it from you somehow.
just to pierce all this evil. It's so hard to believe in evil when you're innocent. And now, am I innocent? Well,
there you go. There you see, there's another example of cognitive dissonance. Being a good person and all of a sudden realizing there's evil in the world. It tweaks you.
yeah.
That's what that's all about. It's hard to swallow. No, there aren't really people like that just as soon shoot you as look at you and rape your daughter, you know, and have fun doing it and not feel a thing about it when they walk out the door.
That's right. Have you read up on the Canada / Queen of England / Pope scandal of pedophilia?
Well, that's worldwide. I mean, the Pope is doing triage and, you know, as much as possible on the church, because now the UN has come out and just totally slammed the Vatican for their stand on covering up for priests and moving them around and not being cooperative in investigation. They're saying it's got to stop. You know, we want to know who these people are so they can be brought to justice. Priests are not above the law. They think they are. But karma's
look,
a bitch.
all those Satanists that worship the 1%, all the other part of the 1% that sticks their nose in the ass of the 0.1% of the.
Yeah. There are rulers in this world, and they rule everything and everybody, though we don't know it. You know, I've said in the past to people, and they didn't believe it, that there are people who are so rich that they can be invisible to the public, and they are, because one of 48 rules of power, I think, or something, Sun Tzu said, never get your hands dirty. Always get someone to do it for you. Well, when you got billions and billions of dollars, how hard is it to come up with a couple of $1,000 to have somebody wax somebody for you?
Right. Just pay one of the 1% or the 99%. Get one of them to show up, and they'd do it here. How much? Heck, they sold Jesus out for $30.
Yeah, 20 pieces of silver. It takes a lot of discernment, because right now there's a lot of BS out there on the net from both sides. The New Agers, the libertarians, the conservatives. Everybody's got their own spin on things, and you have to sort through all of it and weed out the chaff to get to the real truth. But when you find the same basic truth coming from 3 or 4 different directions, no matter how it's spun, it leads to the same thing. You can generally consider it's real, or close to it.
I just saw a couple of Monsanto videos that completely attacks and demolishes all of the basic premises of why we hate Monsanto.
Of course they did.
I mean, it's pretty convincing.
Yeah, but you see, the whole point is, if you go, pages away from that, you'll see that, sorry, that ain't right. Oops, that ain't right. Oops, they're lying, aren't they? Oops.
But they seem to be able to point out that it's the religious nuts, the terrorists of the people like us that are authority resistant. We're authority resistant people. It's like a derangement. So when the time comes, they're going to come put us away.
In a society that runs on lies, those who tell the truth are always the wackos. We have an aversion to authority. I'm an American. Excuse me. I know how best to live my life. I can go out there and I can look and I can see all of these websites that show rats with tumors. Statistics with babies who've come down with autism because of vaccinations, kids who have died because of vaccinations, farmers in India who are committing suicide because their crops of Monsanto seeds are not producing. They can't afford to buy next year's seeds, and they're contract bound, so they're killing themselves. I'd say I'm opposed to their authority.
Hey, here's a story real quick. Monsanto company said on Wednesday that its quarterly profit fell, but sales remained on an upswing, and the world's largest seed company, Monsanto profits drop amid controversy. So there's an example of people taking a stand against Monsanto, and it's beginning to hit their pocketbook.
Is it somewhere between 16 and 20 countries now have banned genetically modified crops and foods? Hawaii was one of the latest state. There will be no GMOs grown on the islands.
Well, they have a big office there. Isn't that where their main office is, in Waikiki?
Yeah, and you know what? I have to ask this question. If their stuff is so damn good, why is it banned from being served in their own cafeterias?
Well, that'd be certainly something to look up to see if it's true or not, or to see whether it's rhetoric.
They do not serve their own products in their cafeterias.
People won't eat their own stuff for the company that they work for, huh?
They know it's suicide. It's the company that doesn't allow it, not the people who work there. The company is a company policy. None of our products will be served in our cafeterias.
Why? Because they know it's pure crap and it's dangerous to the future of humanity?
Yep, and to their own employees. And who's going to work for Monsanto if they're going to serve you their own poison?
Right, and kill off their own employees. Well,
they don't care. That's the point I'm trying to make. They don't care. People are just people. We're useless eaters. 98% of the world is useless eaters. We're just taking up space and breathing their air.
Right. Eating their food, using their resources, using the earth up. But of course, why do they want to put the TPP in? It's going to ruin the earth. I guess
Of course, but think about how much money it'll make them.
Yeah, but what do you do with money when you already got everything?
You get everything else. Remember the old saying, what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine.
I thought that was wives.
That's the powers that be in our world. This world is ours, and you're here at our convenience, and if we don't want you here, we'll get rid of you.
Well,
it's that simple.
Okay.
They own the world.
This is an ugly dream, or reality.
We're waking up from it.
Okay.
We are waking up from this dream.
All right. Then we're going to have a world like Star Trek where they figure out how to make laws that benefit all of us, and they solve all the problems so we all can enjoy life.
That's called a republic.
Yeah? Okay. Are we pledging allegiance to the flag of that republic?
I don't pledge allegiance to any flag. When I joined the military, I swore an oath to my creator. That still stands. But I don't honor a piece of cloth. That's honoring a false idol. And the Bible didn't it say, "Thou shalt have no gods before me"?
Right. Well, hey, I've been talking about that today. I
know. I heard it.
Oh, okay. Right.
See? I tried to comment on it, but I couldn't get to you fast enough on the chat. I had to log in. But anyway, that's the whole thing. The Pledge of Allegiance, that's programming.
Right.
It is conditioning the masses. I don't pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the Constitution.
To the Constitution.
And even Obama, he's created his own flag. They're useless. They're just a piece of cloth, pretty colored piece of cloth. It's just like, to me, most religious texts. They're just words on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Well, we're back to our common law thing. The Constitution is for common law, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And it's based on, let's see, it's based on Magna Carta, it's based on the Iroquois Constitution, it's based on the Federalist Papers. Basically the best of legislation, law that they could gather from the four corners of the earth. And these guys were really smart, in a lot of ways. Yeah, they were property holders, they were rich landowners, they were slave holders, and of course the Constitution would have to be tweaked a bit to deal with our modern society. We don't deal with slaves and Indians anymore. They're part of the society. And we're talking about everybody's rights. But these were some pretty smart cookies. They knew the minds of men. They had watched the minds of men. They know how it works. They knew that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the Constitution was written not to tell, to govern the American people. The Constitution was written to contain and limit our government, to keep them from becoming a kingship or an oligarchy or a dictatorship in any form. It gave us relief and the ability and the legal requirement to throw the bums out if they got out of line. But you see, this has been the biggest problem. We, the people, the constitutionally declared government of this country, have been a miserable friggin' failure. We became lax. lackadaisical, lazy, apathetical couch potatoes.
Well, then the elite are justified in wiping us out as worthless virus.
But you see, then you have to. This is why I'm trying to wake people up, because we are not worthless, useless lumps of flesh. We are human beings, and we have our rights, and we have to stand up and get them. The Constitution guarantees you the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It doesn't say that the government's going to give that to you. You got to go out and get it. You want to pursue happiness, you have to pursue it. The thing with The Secret, think about it and it'll appear. Well, you think about it, it guides you towards inspired action to go get it, to recognize the opportunities and take action to take advantage of it. It doesn't say you're just going to get it. You've got to do something. And in this country, one of my favorite quotes came from Thomas Jefferson, and it said, "The price of freedom is eternal vigilance."
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of hard work.
It is, but it's worth it.
It is.
With not having somebody to tell you what to do, not having the government coming in and taking half of your paycheck, being able to keep what you make, go out and get a job, show your worth, advance, do those things without restrictions. Every time you advance in our society, you get thrown into a higher tax bracket. In some cases, make less money while you're making more. Excuse me?
Yeah.
What's up with that? Why can't I keep all the money I make?
All the research of all the ancient civilizations that must have existed since they seem to have found stuff to show that multiple civilizations have come and gone. And they all manifested the same trait of becoming the pharaohs and everybody else is a slave to the godlike ruler of the world.
And, Rome started out as a republic. And you know what it was just before it fell?
What?
A democracy.
Yeah. I've been reading about that too. Like Chris Hedges is the complex societies in the rise of their greatest power. It's shortly after that they lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
The fall.
Because they get lazy and they get greedy and complacent and stop doing, you see, like I tell people, your most absolutely patriotic duty that you can do is question everything that they do in your name. Everything. Because those are supposed to be our public servants, our representatives carrying out our will. Think about that one.
Yeah, well, wouldn't that be something? That's like praying to God and having Him answer your prayers.
Well, this is what a republic is supposed to be. Those representatives are supposed to carry out the will of the people, not their own agendas, not a corporate agenda, not a banker's agenda, but the will of the people. And I'm seeing figures, that are getting up in the 90s that are saying that our government is going the wrong direction. Now, when all those people get pissed off enough to stand up and realize that their votes don't count because all of the electronic vote machines are owned by, a company that owes its allegiance to George Soros, who owns both the Republican and the Democratic Party. He's the major stockholder in both parties.
We need a new party.
Vote on account.
We need a new party. I mean, this Democrat-Republican thing it just isn't it.
I assume, now tell me if I'm wrong, that you've read the Constitution.
Are you asking me something?
Have you read the Constitution?
Sure, of course.
Did you see anywhere in all those pages, all those subsections, any mention of a political party?
No.
That's because they don't care about parties. Parties are irrelevant. All it is a way to coalesce money. And it's a way to cheat the American public. We get to vote for one of two corporate clowns put up by corporations, vetted, trained, pushed, financed, educated in the highest ways to their benefit. And I studied the other 5 candidates that were on the presidential ballot in the last election. Any one of them would have been better than this fool Kenyon that was in the House.
Yeah.
Who's not an American citizen, and I know people keep saying, "Oh, that's been a little innocent." There are 18 outstanding court cases waiting for a judge that grow a set and follow the law to challenge Obama. There's so much evidence out there that he is not a natural-born American citizen, and he's a liar and a fraud. I have a question. What did he do when he was in the Senate that made him such a great candidate for president?
He's a smooth talker.
Yeah, but what did he do that would earn him the nomination? What made him such a great politician? What great triumph did he pull in the Senate?
Well, he was a good puppet.
He was a good puppet. He was groomed to go that route. He was not, he didn't earn any of that. The powers that be said, you're going to be president, and this is how you're going to do it, and we're going to finance you, and we're going to, put up all the money. I mean, just think about it. The last presidential election, the 2 major parties spent $2 billion on an election. Where did all that money go? It wasn't just to the media.
Yeah, well, it lined a bunch of people's pockets, right?
Including people who own the voting machines. I was reading about, several dozen reports, people actually watching their votes being changed after they pushed the button, and they complained about it. Nothing was done about it, and with those electronic voting machines, there is no paper trail, so how can you question it? So they're blatant. They're right out front about it. They don't care. And it's up to us as a nation of people to stand up and defy the corporation.
Well,
this is not what we were given. This is not what we were raised to believe in.
Well, I think
you guys got to go.
I think it's going to happen.
It's happening. See, that's the thing people don't understand. We keep talking, well, we're going to have a revolution. We're going to have no. We are in a revolution. And right now, in the status that we're in, it's a revolution of consciousness. And because of our little internet battleground, people are waking up. You know what the newest swear phrase is in Washington, D.C.?
What?
Oh my God, it's gone viral on YouTube. We can't squash it. Too many people have seen it. That's just the way it is. This is our battleground right here, and why we have to protect it, too. Because this is how this is what is saving this world right now. I'm sitting here looking at a headline on an article that says, "Bombshell, Snowden downloaded entire roster of U.S. government. All names, home addresses, phone numbers, everything." And it wasn't just them. It was all of the contractors that deal with them, their employee rosters and personal information. It was everybody. He got their whole contact database.
That's what those smart meters are, you know, they're trying to put on every building now.
Mm-hmm.
Just computerizing our lives. We're all moving along in the maze that they've designed so that every movement is controlled or observed and allowed to exist within parameters.
If I found they put a smart meter on our apartment, I'd be out there with an EMP generator, burn that sucker out. You have the right to tell them they can't do it.
Right. Well, we'll see how they manipulate you to make you allow it.
Actually, they're in no place to manipulate, because I found documents with legal sightings that show that they're not supposed to be charging us. Those things we get in the mail are not actual bills. They are statements, and they're supposed to be coupons saying how much of our debt that the government has paid, because the utility companies were supposed to give us our utilities for free because of taking all of our gold back in 1933 or 34, back when it was they confiscated all the gold. Part of the deal was that the government would pay our debts because we could no longer pay them. So I'd say, you can't pay a debt. You don't have any money. If all you have is, Federal Reserve notes, you don't have any money. So you can't pay a debt. You can never pay a debt. Is that weird or what?
You can never pay a debt.
That's right, because you cannot settle a debt with a debt, and a dollar is a debt note.
Well, they're doing that, though. That's the whole thing. They just did it with $700 billion.
With one of their debt notes, you're increasing the national deficit.
All those big fat cats on Wall Street and stuff, it was like, oh, you're not making enough money? Well, here, you're losing your ass? Oh, well, here, let's just give you $700 billion.
And where does that come from? What's it backed by?
Debt.
Exactly. So you're not paying any bills.
Our future children. Well, who will be held responsible for the results of our decision and their decision, the banks, to screw us like this. So the future doesn't look very good.
Our decision has to be different than the banks. Our decision has to be more like Iceland.
Right.
We cannot, if we told the bankers to take their fictional fractional banking debt that they say we owe them, and told them to piss off, our national debt would be right around $2 trillion. $2
trillion.
That's how big our national debt is to the banks, to the Federal Reserve. We would only owe about $2 trillion. We'd be in Fat City if we told them to just piss off.
Well, where would that show up for us?
Well, if we started doing what the Constitution said, and the Treasury starts issuing, certificates that are backed by actual value, like gold or titanium or silver or any other precious metal, it would put us back in business again. And we could pay off the national debt in no time flat. And keep our veterans getting care, keep people from starving, actually maybe solve the health care issue, stop with this budget bull, because there's two different things going here. They talk about the budget. That has nothing to do with how much money they have. This is how much they're willing to publicly say they're going to spend. They have these things called CAFR accounts. The Comprehensive Annual Financial Report covers every income stream the government has. The government owns stocks. The government owns property that's making money. The government takes in tariffs that makes money. The government, they have billions and billions of dollars coming in every month. I think it's something like $50.2 billion every month coming in. But that doesn't show up on the budget books. The only thing the budget talks about is expenditures. It doesn't talk about government income. Don was looking at the Beaverton site, the Beaverton Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. The city of Beaverton holds over $2 billion in assets.
$2 billion?
That we don't know about. It's not in their budget. Just the property alone they own is unbelievable in its value. But you won't hear about that unless you actually go look for it. Now here's the situation. Here's the cure. People have to understand that ignorance of the law is no excuse. And they are not honor-bound to tell you what the truth is. So what you have to do, you got to go out and do some research. You got to find out for yourself. You have to educate yourself. It takes work. But if you don't want to be taken advantage of, you got to know how they do it and know how to fight it. If you don't want to take the time to do that, then I'll leave you to your fate.
Okay, but that's a hell of a lot of work. We barely can even make a dime.
Hey, if you want to be free, the question is, how badly do you want it?
Well, what if I'm free right now and I don't need to do squat?
Then you're either extremely lucky living out in the woods, totally isolated from civilization, or you're kidding yourself. Nobody in this society is free. Can you go drive your car up the block without being harassed by a police officer?
No.
If you chose to, could you roll up a joint and smoke it sitting on the sidewalk?
No.
Can you walk down the sidewalk with a beer in your hand?
No.
Can you...
I can if I can get away with it.
In the house you're living in, can you add a new bedroom without going to...
No.
Let's see, what else can we come up with here? Anything you want to do, basically, you got to ask permission.
Right.
You're not free.
No. Well, I'm free within parameters.
That's not freedom. That's following somebody else's rules. As long as I can meet my responsibilities, and those I take on willingly, how I do it and what I do with the profits from it is nobody's business unless I don't fulfill my responsibility. I hurt somebody in the process, then it is my responsibility to take care of it. My responsibility. If I hurt somebody, it's my responsibility, not an insurance company, because they don't care. They'll cut you off because they can. And still, it's your responsibility in the end. I was out driving the other day and went through a construction zone and accidentally clipped somebody's truck mirror with my mirror. Broke it. I left them a note. They called me. I find out how much it'll cost to fix it, and I'll pay you. They found out. I sent them a money order. All was good. All done. All taken care of. Didn't need to involve an insurance company, didn't need to involve the government, but I met my personal responsibility.
Yeah, okay.
It's just, that's how it has to be. That's what freedom is about. Taking responsibility for your life and making it what you want while not hurting anybody else or ripping them off in the process.
Yeah, it's Star Trek.
It's the new old philosophy.
Yep.
The way it was supposed to was, but didn't.
Yep.
Well, it may be, a little late, but better late than never. And now is the time when people need to wake up and take responsibility for their own lives. Realize you can't rely on the state to do this for you. It's not their job. Look at the Oregon Constitution. Look at the United States Constitution. Look at the Constitution of any state. It is your job to take care of your life. Period.
Yeah, well, you guys got a lot of energy. I'm kind of slow these days.
Hey, listen, I'm feeling battle-ridden and battle-weary. I've been fighting this battle for a while, and I'm in daily argumentative threads with people, trying to make them understand what's really going on, and how your party loyalty is what's killing us. Your belief in the system will kill you. No matter whether it's the drugs you take that the doctor says you should have, whether it's the food you eat, the air you breathe, the taxes you pay, all of it is basically corrupt.
Yeah.
My daughter took her kid to the hospital. He was sick, and they wanted to give him a whole bunch of tests. And she said, okay, but not yet, one at a time. Let me calm him down after each invasive little procedure here, not everything at once.
Yeah.
And they called Children's Services.
What?
They said she was resisting the doctor's best advice.
Right.
And by the time Children's Services got there, they said that she was doing that, and she said, he has had every one of their tests. He has done what they asked. We've done what they asked. It's all good, You have no business being here. And then they started questioning about her upbringing and his upbringing. These people could not love or take better care of this kid. They are absolutely 100% devoted to taking care of this kid. He is going to grow up, probably be a spoiled little brat. But because she had to get him a birth certificate to get any kind of health care, now the state says that he's theirs. And if they don't agree with the way she's raising him, they can come take him away. Well, you try that, you'll see World War III.
Yeah.
Not only from them.
Well, then they'll come shoot you or shoot him because they can just shoot anybody now. Now you can just shoot anybody.
And they'll have a hard time when people are shooting back.
Well, that's true, but that's why they're trying to get rid of all the guns.
Exactly, and that's why we're fighting so hard. And then I was in a conversation today, they're arguing about assault weapons. Well, the things they're trying to pass off as assault weapons are not assault weapons. An assault weapon is a fully automatic gun that you take into an assault, a battle. AR-15 is not an assault rifle. It is a semi-automatic. It is a hunting and protection rifle. But in that argument, I said, now let's talk about some of the things that, from the gun grabbers that they have, like cluster bombs and napalm and bunker busters and urban assault vehicles and RPGs and biological and chemical warfare, and you're nitpicking about a piddly little AR-15? Come on. When they take away the weapons of mass destruction and weapons from the criminals in D.C. and the criminals on the street, you know, and the criminal brute squad corporate police bureaus around the country, you take the weapons away from them, then you can talk about taking ours. Those are the real criminals. You know, we're protecting ourselves from those criminals. Simple. Oh, well.
Hey, you want to do something? I've got you.
that?
I don't know if you've got the video up of what we've been talking about, but I've downloaded a bunch of pictures of you, and I've been slideshowing through them as we've talked.
Well, I actually paused it because there's a delay.
Yeah.
Between. Yeah. But I see it now. Yeah. That'd be. Bernie the burglar just came up.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of people think I'm an outlaw anyway. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I want to go over and get something that needs to have a button pushed. And I've got your picture up, you and the band. Who is those guys anyway? Set up at the lair?
Oh no, but that's the one that's up now is Lloyd Jones, Dave Call, and that was down in Hollywood, the Hollywood district. That was the first time I ever got to play with Lloyd Jones.
How'd that go?
Fun.
Was that fun?
Oh, big fun. And that was Dave Call on the bass, and he's just killer. And of all people, he brought in Carlton Jackson on drums.
Oh,
man.
man.
I don't know if you know Carlton, but that's like monster heavyweight drummer.
Right.
I love that I get to play with these Cadillac musicians.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to call him for a gig at the Coast. And then,
Carlton?
Yeah. I ended up getting Rod Walker, the guy that played at the Space on New Year's Eve. He's my favorite. He was a great drummer, that guy. And he also is the head of what is it? Events or something, or stage management at the Coliseum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the #1 guy, tech dude.
Interesting.
But
they're
likes
all union, so I don't associate with those people anymore.
Yeah, well, he was a great drummer. You were there that night, but you probably don't remember.
Oh, I vaguely remember some of it, yeah. New Year's Eve, you know, come on.
So let me go grab my thing. If you want to talk a little bit, you've got people listening to you.
Grab your thing? You're not going to do that on...
I'm going to go grab my thing. It's a big tenderloin.
I see. That's TMI, Daniel.
It's a pork tenderloin, dang it.
Oh, God, I'm not even going to touch that with somebody else's 10-foot pole.
Well, it's pretty big, too. I'm telling you. It's...
Go
right.
get it. Go put it... Go put it in the crock pot and hurry back.
All right.
But, yeah, apparently, you know, if you get the picture, I have been digging. I have been digging deep. I have been digging wide. And there's just so many things going on that should not be going on. And if you open your eyes and look around, it doesn't take much to see what's wrong. And most people know there's something wrong, and they can feel it deep down in the guts. They just don't know what or how to fix it. Well, pick one. Hold your head up out of the sand, look around, see what's wrong, see what most affects you, and see how you can fix it. You're the only ones that can. I've read it. We're the white knights we've been waiting for. We have to take care of our own thing. And that's just the way it is. Otherwise, they'll take care of it for us, and it won't be what we want. And I'm assuming Daniel's still off in the kitchen playing with his pork roast.
I'm coming.
Oh.
All right.
I can't believe you said that. You are nasty. Oh God! If you get a chance, look up on YouTube the band Carl's Jr. Big Sausage Breakfast commercial. They banned it. They wouldn't let them show it. And if you watch it, you'll see why. This girl is naughty, naughty, naughty.
YouTube.com. Okay, let me look it up here. What am I looking up?
Carl's Jr. Band Super Bowl ad commercial or whatever.
Oh, here we go. Okay, Super Bowl. All right, let's take a look. Wait, what happened to it? Carl's Jr. Maybe this is it. Swexy Shoe.
No, that's not the one. This one is the Big Sausage Breakfast.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what happened there.
You'll get a kick out of it. And you'll know why they wouldn't put it on TV.
It's reminding me, just the thinking about it, of who was that girl that...
Oh, yeah. The twerk star.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Carl's Jr. Sausage commercial.
Super Bowl sausage.
Super Bowl. All right, we got all those key words in there. Here we go. Banned Carl's Jr. Super Bowl sausage. Oh boy. Just the dang. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at it now. I should put it on. I could get it up on the radio here.
Stop that.
I gotta get it up here. I mean,
oh my God! You have that way with words.
It's a short one.
Well, the song isn't.
No, it isn't. Okay. All right, here's super sausage, Super Bowl sausage, Carl's Jr.'s Super Bowl sausage. All right, here we go. Now I'll be playing it on the video.
Okay.
Okay, there we are. Right, oh, wrong camera. Let's go to the other one. Here we go. Right.
Sure, I want to see it again.
Okay, here it comes. It's a little crooked.
Up and to the left.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Well,
There you are.
man. Oh my God. Gee.
seeing
Oh, whoa.
Oh, there it is.
Oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Holy smoke. Oh my God. Oh, jeez.
God, I wonder why they wouldn't put that on TV.
Oh, man. I gotta watch that
Especially
again.
during the Super Bowl, you know, all those weenies on the field.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe that.
Eat like you mean it, yeah.
Jeez. Wow. Oh, man. Well, that's so bad. Man.
That is indeed why they wouldn't let them show it.
Well, that's better than any porn thing I've ever seen. Oh, jeez. It just gets better and better. Until, you know, it's just peaking and...
Like an outtake from Deep Throat.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Eat like you mean it. Well, that was a lot of fun.
See what America's come to?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't go into Carl's Jr. before that, you know, but now I really don't want to go there.
Wow. Oh, wait, here's another one. Band Super Bowl.
Well, they got a bunch of them. There was a whole bunch of commercials that were a little too risque for them.
Man, I can't believe that. I'm going to watch that after you're gone.
Well, speaking of which, it's about time for us to start thinking about dinner.
Oh, my God. Well, this is pretty, yeah. Carl's Jr. has really gone all out.
Yeah. And definitely getting up in it.
Man. It's hot. Oh, boy.
It smells.
How? Yeah, well, let's do it.
Sells.
Yeah. Who is that chick, anyway? Oh, Kate Upton. Kate Upton.
Up what?
Upton. Huh. Well, okay. Hey, thanks for turning me on to that.
Not a problem, you know. I mean, we aim to please.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you later, Stash. Thanks for talking, man.
Thanks for sharing your airtime, brother.
All right.
You have a great night.
You too. Bye.